need to tell this story because maybe it'll stop someone else from making the same catastrophic mistake I did. Maybe you'll read this and recognize yourself before it's too late. My name is Sarah, and I destroyed my own life because I thought I was special enough to break the rules. It started so small. That's what I keep telling myself, like it matters. Like the size of the first lie makes the final explosion any less devastating. I met Marcus at a work conference 3 years into my marriage to David. We were happy. I need you to understand that. David was kind, steady, reliable. He worked in accounting. He remembered anniversaries. He loaded the dishwasher without being asked. He was the kind of man your mother tells you to marry, and I did, and I was genuinely happy. But Marcus was different. Marcus was exciting. He worked for a competitive firm, had that easy confidence that comes from being good-looking and knowing it. During the networking mixer, he made a beeline for me. Complimented my presentation. Asked intelligent questions. Made me feel seen in a way I didn't realize I'd been missing. We exchanged business cards. Professional. Innocent. The first text came 2 days later. Great meeting you. Coffee sometime to discuss industry trends? I should have deleted it. I should have told David. I should have done 1,000 things differently. Instead, I saved his number. The coffee meeting happened 3 weeks later. Just coffee. We talked about work, about our companies, about nothing that mattered. But underneath every word was this electric current, this awareness that we were playing a game neither of us was naming. I told myself it was networking. I told myself David wouldn't mind. I told myself I wasn't doing anything wrong. I didn't tell David. That's when you know, isn't it? When you start hiding things, even small things, even things you swear are innocent. The hiding is the tell. The hiding means you know. The texts became more frequent. Good morning messages. Funny memes. Thinking of you at random hours. Nothing explicitly romantic, but everything implicitly intimate. We were building a secret world, just the two of us, and it felt intoxicating. David's mother, Patricia, came for dinner around this time. She'd never been warm to me, not from the beginning. Polite, but distant. Like she was waiting for me to fail some test I didn't know I was taking. That night, she watched me check my phone during dessert. I'd felt it buzz. Marcus, probably. I glanced at the screen out of habit. Patricia's eyes followed the movement. Something flickered across her face. Something that looked almost like recognition. Like disappointment confirmed. Sarah seems distracted lately, she said to David, like I wasn't sitting right there. Is everything all right? Everything's fine, Mom, David said, squeezing my hand. Work's just been busy. I smiled and agreed. Work was busy. That wasn't a lie, but Patricia kept watching me. And I kept checking my phone. The emotional affair lasted 6 months before it became physical. 6 months of increasingly personal conversations. 6 months of deleting message threads. 6 months of Marcus becoming the first person I wanted to tell things to, the last person I thought about before sleep. 6 months of David not noticing, because he trusted me. The night it happened, I'd told David the first was going to a work dinner. Another lie. Marcus had invited me to his apartment. To watch a movie and decompress. We both knew what we were doing. Let's be clear about that. There was no surprise, no accident, no moment where things just happened. We chose this. I chose this. I chose to park 3 blocks away so my car wouldn't be seen. I chose to turn off my phone's location. I chose to walk into his building. I chose to ride the elevator up. I chose to knock on his door. He answered in jeans and a t-shirt, casual, disarming. Poured wine. We sat on the couch. The movie played. Neither of us watched it. I've wanted this for so long, he said, and his hand found mine. My wedding ring caught the light from the television. I watched it glitter there between us like a tiny accusation. I should have left. I should have run. Instead, I kissed him. What came next doesn't matter in the details. It matters in the fact that it happened. That I let it happen. That I participated. That I came home 3 hours later, showered immediately, and climbed into bed next to my husband. David rolled over, still half asleep. How was dinner? Fine, I whispered. Go back to sleep. He did. He trusted me. I stared at the ceiling until dawn, my heart hammering, my mind racing. I felt sick. I felt alive. I felt like I'd just set my life on fire and couldn't decide if I wanted to put it out or watch it burn. The affair continued for 4 months. Twice a week, sometimes 3 times. Always at his place. Always with elaborate lies to David. Girls' night. Late meetings. Gym sessions that never happened. I got sloppy. Started saving Marcus's name in my phone under a woman's name, Michelle from HR. Started smiling at my phone at dinner. Started being irritable with David for no reason, because his presence reminded me of my guilt, and I hated the reminder. Patricia came for Sunday lunch. She'd started coming more often, I realized. Always watching. Always waiting. This time, when my phone buzzed during the meal, I didn't even hide checking it. Marcus had sent a photo. Something innocent, a sunset, but the heart emoji that followed it wasn't. I looked up to find Patricia staring directly at me. That must be some sunset, she said quietly. My blood went cold. What? To make you smile like that? Her voice was flat. Hard. David never makes you smile like that anymore. Mom, David said, uncomfortable. Come on, I'm just making an observation. Patricia set down her fork. Sarah's been very engaged with her phone lately. Very distracted. Work's demanding right now, I said, my voice steady despite the panic clawing at my chest. I'm managing a big project. I'm sure you are, Patricia said, and the way she said it made me want to throw up. She knew. Somehow, she knew. After lunch, David walked his mother to her car. Through the window, I watched them talk. Watched Patricia gesture back toward the house. Watched David shake his head, put his hand on her arm, clearly telling her she was wrong. She was imagining things I would never. He defended me. Even against his own mother's suspicions, he chose to believe in me. That night, we made love. David was gentle, attentive, everything he always was. And I felt nothing except the desperate need to prove to myself that I still could be this person, the wife, the partner, the woman he thought he married. Afterward, he held me close. I love you, he said. You know that, right? No matter what. I know, I whispered. I love you too. I did love him. That's the part that makes this unbearable. I loved him and I was destroying him anyway. The end came fast. Marcus started pushing for more. Started talking about me leaving David. Started saying he loved me, wanted a real relationship, wanted me to make a choice. I panicked. I'd never planned for this to be real. It was supposed to be a fantasy, something separate, something that didn't touch my actual life. I can't leave him, I said. I'm not ready. Then what are we doing? Marcus demanded. You're just using me? The irony of being accused of using someone while I was actively lying to my husband wasn't lost on me. But I doubled down. Started pulling away from Marcus. Started trying to end it. He didn't take it well. You can't just walk away, he said during our last meeting. I've invested too much in this. You knew I was married, I said, suddenly angry that he wouldn't let me go easily, wouldn't let me pretend this had all been nothing. What did you think would happen? I thought you'd choose me. He stood up. I thought you were different. But you're just another cheater trying to have it both ways. He was right. That made it worse. I went home that night determined to end the affair completely. To delete everything. To be better. To somehow make this right without David ever knowing. Patricia was sitting in my living room. David was at the store. She'd used her emergency key to let herself in. Was sitting on my couch like a judge at a bench. We need to talk, she said. My entire body went numb. About what? About the lies. She pulled out her phone. About Marcus. The world tilted sideways. How? I hired a private investigator. Her voice was ice. 4 weeks ago. I needed to be sure before I destroyed my son's world. She opened a folder on her phone. Photos. Dates. Times. Me walking into Marcus's building. Walking out hours later. My car parked blocks away like that would somehow hide what I was doing. Evidence. Undeniable, brutal evidence. Why? I whispered. Because I knew, Patricia said. Because I've always known exactly what you are. What I am. My voice broke. You don't know me. I know liars. She stood up. I know women who take good men for granted. I know betrayal when I see it on someone's face, Sarah. I've seen it before. She moved toward the door, then stopped. David will be home in 20 minutes. You can tell him, or I will. But he's going to know. Today. Please, I begged. Please don't do this. I'll end it. I have ended it. It was a mistake. You're the mistake, Patricia said. And you're about to find out what mistakes cost. She left. I stood in my living room, my knees shaking, my mind blank with terror. David came home 15 minutes later, groceries in hand, smiling. "Hey babe, they had those cookies you like." His voice trailed off. He saw my face. "What's wrong?" I couldn't speak. My mouth opened but nothing came out except a sound like drowning. David set the groceries down slowly. "Sarah, what happened? You're scaring me." "Your mom was here," I managed. "Okay." He stepped closer, concern replacing confusion. "What did she say?" This was it. The moment everything ended. I could feel my life splitting in two, before and after, and I was standing right on the knife edge between them. I could have lied. Part of me wanted to. Wanted to tell him his mother was crazy, making things up, that I had no idea what she was talking about. Maybe I could have gotten away with it. Maybe he would have believed me over her. But Patricia had evidence. Photographs. Dates. Times. She would show him. If I lied now, it would only be worse. "I need to tell you something," I said. The look on his face changed. Like somewhere deep down, he already knew. Like his subconscious had been screaming warnings his conscious mind refused to hear. "Tell me what?" "I've been." The words stuck in my throat like glass. "I've been seeing someone." Silence. The kind that has weight and texture. The kind you could drown in. "Seeing someone," he repeated slowly. "Seeing someone how?" "David." "How, Sarah?" His voice cracked. "Coffee? Lunch? Or were you sleeping with him?" I started crying. Not the pretty kind of crying. The ugly, choking kind where your whole face falls apart. "Answer me." His voice rose to a shout, and I'd never heard him shout before. Not once in 5 years. "Yes," I sobbed. "I'm so sorry." "Yes." He staggered backward like I physically hit him. Put his hand on the wall to steady himself. "How long?" 4 months. 4 months. He said it like he was testing the words, trying to make them make sense. 4 months you'd been lying to me. Looking me in the eye and lying. "I ended it," I said desperately. "It's over. It was a mistake. I love you." "You love me?" He laughed, and it was the worst sound I'd ever heard. Broken and bitter and so unlike him. "You love me but you've been sleeping with someone else for 4 months?" It didn't mean anything. "Don't." He held up his hand. "Don't you dare tell me it didn't mean anything. You don't do something for 4 months if it doesn't mean anything. You don't lie for 4 months if it doesn't mean anything." My phone buzzed. Marcus. I'd forgotten to block his number. David's eyes went to my phone, then to my face. "Is that him?" I didn't answer. "Give me your phone." "David, please. Give me your phone." I handed it over with shaking hands. Watched him open my messages. Watched him read through weeks of conversations I'd been too stupid to delete. Watched his face cycle through expressions I never wanted to see. Shock. Pain. Disgust. "Michelle from HR," he said flatly. "You saved him as a woman's name. I can explain. The gym sessions that never happened. The work dinners. The girls' nights." He was scrolling faster now. "You lied about everything. You looked at me every single time and lied." He threw my phone. It hit the wall and cracked, pieces of screen scattering across the floor like tiny mirrors reflecting my destroyed life back at me. "I want you out," he said. "David, please, we can fix this." "Fix this?" He turned on me, and his eyes were empty. That was worse than anger. Anger meant he still felt something. This was nothing. "You think this is fixable? You think I'm ever going to trust you again? You think I'm ever going to close my eyes at night without wondering where you really are? It was a mistake. People make mistakes. Stop calling it a mistake." He was shouting again. "A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. A mistake is double booking plans." This was a choice. Hundreds of choices. Every text, every lie, every time you let him touch you. All choices. I sank to the floor, sobbing so hard I couldn't breathe. "I want you out of this house," David said, his voice cold now. "Tonight. Pack a bag. Take what you need. We'll figure out the rest later." "Where am I supposed to go?" "I don't care." He walked past me toward the bedroom. "Call your parents. Call your friends. Call Marcus. I don't care. Just get out." I called my best friend, Jessica. Told her through tears that I needed somewhere to stay. She agreed immediately, no questions asked, and I packed a bag with shaking hands while David sat in the living room, silent. As I was leaving, I stopped at the door. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." He didn't look at me. "So am I?" Jessica's apartment was small, and she could tell something catastrophic had happened, but she didn't push. Just made up the couch, made tea, sat with me while I cried. Around midnight, she finally asked, "What happened?" I told her. Watched her face change as the story unfolded. Watched disappointment replace sympathy. "Sarah," she said when I finished. "What were you thinking?" "I don't know. David's a good guy. He's the best guy. Why would you?" "I don't know." I screamed. "I don't know why I did it, okay? I don't have a good reason. There is no good reason." Jessica was quiet for a long time. "I need to tell you something." My stomach dropped. "What?" "My boyfriend cheated on me. 3 years ago. That's why we broke up." I'd known they'd broken up. I hadn't known why. "I never told you because it hurt too much to talk about," she continued. "And because I didn't want pity. But Sarah, it destroyed me. It took me 2 years to trust anyone again. I still have panic attacks sometimes when my current boyfriend doesn't text back fast enough." "Jess, I'm not saying this to make you feel worse. I'm saying it so you understand what you did to David. What you took from him. It's not just your marriage. It's his ability to trust. Maybe forever." I spent that night staring at Jessica's ceiling, replaying every moment, every choice, every lie. Trying to find the exact point where I could have stopped, where I could have chosen differently. But there was no single point. There were 1,000 points. And at every single one, I chose wrong. My phone was broken, but I'd grabbed my laptop. Around 3 in the morning, I opened it and found the email I'd been dreading. From David. Subject line, "We need to talk about next steps." Inside was clinical. Lawyer names. Division of assets. Timeline for moving out my things. No emotion. Just logistics. At the bottom, "I'm filing for divorce. I assume you won't contest it." I typed and deleted responses for an hour. Apologies. Explanations. Begging for another chance. In the end, I just wrote, "I won't contest it. I'm sorry." The next morning, Jessica left for work. I sat alone in her apartment and did what every disaster does eventually. I Googled myself. Needed to know if this was public yet. It was. David's sister had posted something vague on social media. "Some people will smile to your face while stabbing you in the back. Praying for my brother during this difficult time." The comments were already speculating. People who knew us both. People asking what happened. People saying they'd always thought we were perfect together. Someone had figured it out. "Posted, I heard she cheated. With a coworker." The comments exploded. I watched in real time as my reputation disintegrated. People I considered friends, people from church, people from work. All weighing in. All condemning me. I always thought she seemed shady. Poor David. He deserved so much better. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Hope the other guy was worth it. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped the laptop. It clattered to the floor, screen still glowing with my public execution. My work email pinged. HR wanted to see me. Immediately. Marcus worked for a competitor. We'd met at a professional conference. We'd been seen together. Someone had reported a potential conflict of interest, possible sharing of proprietary information. I hadn't even thought about that. Hadn't thought about anything except myself. The meeting was brutal. My manager and an HR representative. Very formal. Very serious. "We need to ask you about your relationship with Marcus Chen from Apex Solutions." I wanted to lie. But I was so tired of lying. "We were involved," I admitted. "But I never shared any company information. Never. It wasn't about work." "The optics are problematic," the HR rep said. "And there have been complaints from other employees. About favoritism, about you being distracted, about personal phone calls during work hours." "I'll stop. It's already over. It won't happen again. We're putting you on administrative leave," my manager said. "Pending a full investigation. 2 weeks, paid. We'll be in touch about next steps." I was being fired. They weren't saying it yet, but I was being fired. I walked out of that office and sat in my car in the parking lot for 20 minutes, completely dissociated. Everything was falling apart so fast I couldn't even process it. My phone buzzed. "Patricia. We need to talk. In person. Tonight. There's something you need to know." I almost didn't go. Almost blocked her number and pretended I never saw it. But I was already destroyed. What else could she possibly do to me? We met at a coffee shop. Neutral territory. She was already there when I arrived, sitting in the back corner like she was afraid to be seen with me. I sat down across from her. "What do you want?" "To tell you the truth," Patricia said. "About why I've never liked you. I don't care why you don't like me. You got what you wanted. David's divorcing me. Everyone hates me. I'm probably going to lose my job. What more do you want?" "I want you to understand," she said quietly. "I want you to know that I didn't do this out of spite. I did it because I couldn't watch history repeat itself." "What are you talking about?" Patricia took a breath. "David's father. My husband. He had an affair." The coffee shop noise faded to white noise. "What?" 25 years ago. For 6 months. With a woman from his office. Her hands were shaking. "David doesn't know. I never told him. I couldn't bear to shatter his image of his father. I don't understand." "She looked like you," Patricia said, and her voice cracked. "The woman Michael cheated with. Same age, same build, same smile. When David brought you home the first time, it was like seeing a ghost. Like watching my worst nightmare walk back into my life." I couldn't speak. "I tried to be fair," she continued. "Tried to tell myself you were different. That I was projecting. That my trauma wasn't your fault. But then I saw the signs. The phone checking. The distance. The lying. All the same signs Michael showed. And I couldn't let my son go through what I went through. So you had me followed." "Yes. No apology. And I'd do it again. Because the truth needed to come out. Because David deserved to know before you got pregnant, before you bought a house together, before you wasted more years of his life." "How long did you stay with your husband?" I asked. "After you found out?" 3 more years. We tried to work it out. Went to counseling. Rebuilt trust. Or I thought we did." She looked away. "Then I found out he'd started another affair. Different woman. Same lies. I filed for divorce. David was 12. Does David know his father cheated? No. Michael died when David was 16. Heart attack. David only has good memories of him, and I wanted to keep it that way. It was my burden to carry, not his." We sat in silence for a moment. "So that's why you hate me," I said finally. "I remind you of her." "I don't hate you," Patricia said, and she sounded tired. "I pity you. Because I know exactly where you're headed. The shame, the isolation, the years spent wondering why you blew up your life for something that meant nothing. Michael's affair partner? She lost her husband, her job, her friends. Last I heard, she moved 3 states away to escape the gossip." "Good for her," I said bitterly. "She has a daughter," Patricia continued, ignoring my tone. "Who was 8 when it all came out. Who heard the other kids at school talking about her mom being a homewrecker. Who stopped speaking to her mother for 5 years." My blood went cold. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you need to understand the full cost." Patricia leaned forward. "You didn't just hurt David. You hurt me. You hurt yourself. And if this pattern continues, if you don't figure out what's broken in you that made this seem like a good idea, you'll hurt the next person too. And the next. Until you're alone and wondering why." She stood up. "Don't contact David. Don't try to explain or apologize. Just let him heal. That's the only decent thing left for you to do." She left. I sat there until the barista asked me to order something or leave. I went back to Jessica's apartment and finally broke down completely. Not crying. Something beyond crying. A grief so deep it felt like dying. Jessica came home and found me on the bathroom floor. She didn't say anything. Just sat down next to me and held my hand while I shook. "I need to tell you something," I finally said. "Okay. I think I need help. Real help. Like therapy. Because I don't understand why I did this. And if I don't understand, I'll do it again." "That's good," Jessica said quietly. "That's the first thing you've said that makes sense." I started therapy the next week. Had to pay out of pocket because I was on administrative leave and my insurance was in limbo. First session, the therapist asked me why I was there. "I cheated on my husband and destroyed my life," I said. "And I need to understand why." She listened to the whole story. Every detail. Every choice. Every lie. At the end, she asked, "What do you think the affair gave you that your marriage didn't?" "Excitement," I said automatically. That's the surface answer. What underneath? I thought about it. Really thought about it. "Proof that I was still desirable," I said slowly. "That I wasn't just a wife. That I was still me, still interesting, still worth pursuing." "Did you feel like you'd lost yourself in the marriage?" "No." David never asked me to change. He loved me exactly as I was. Then where did this fear come from? That you needed to prove you were still desirable? I couldn't answer. She let the silence sit. I think, I said finally, that I never believed I deserved David. He was too good, too stable, too kind. And somewhere in my head, I was waiting for him to realize I wasn't good enough and leave. So you left first. The words hit me like a physical blow. I sabotaged it. That's one theory. We'll explore it more. She made a note. In the meantime, I want you to sit with something. You can't change what happened. You can only decide who you want to be going forward. But I didn't know who that was anymore. The divorce papers came 2 weeks later. Jessica was at work. I was alone when the courier knocked. I signed for them with a steady hand. Sat down at the kitchen table. Read through every page. Irreconcilable differences. Division of assets. David got the house. I got my student loans. Fair, considering. At the bottom, a line for my signature. I picked up the pen. Put it down. Picked it up again. This was real. This was the end. I signed. The pen stayed in my hand for a long time after. I stared at my signature, at proof that I had finally accepted what I'd done. What I'd destroyed. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Sarah? Marcus. Don't call me, I said. I heard about the divorce. I wanted to see if you're okay. If I'm okay? I laughed, and it sounded unhinged even to me. You wanted to see if I'm okay? I know this is hard. You don't know anything. You got to walk away clean. No wife, no job to lose, no life blown apart. I'm the only one who lost everything. That's not fair. I have feelings. Stop. My voice went cold. Don't call me again. Don't text me. Don't exist in my world. You were a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. And I need you to disappear. I hung up. Blocked his number. Blocked him on every platform. It should have felt cathartic. It just felt empty. Jessica came home that evening with takeout. Found me still sitting at the table, divorce papers in front of me. You signed them, she said. Yeah. How do you feel? Like I don't deserve to feel anything. I looked up at her. Can I ask you something? Of course. Do you think I'm a bad person? Jessica was quiet for a long time. Too long. I think you did a bad thing, she said finally. I think you hurt someone who loved you. I think you made selfish choices and now you're dealing with consequences. But I don't think you're irredeemable. If you're willing to do the work. What if the work isn't enough? What if I can't fix what's broken? Then you learn to live with it, she said. Like everyone else with regrets. That night, I dreamed about David. We were back in our house, before everything fell apart. He was laughing at something I said. Reaching for my hand. Looking at me the way he used to look at me, like I was the answer to every question. Then his face changed. Became cold. Became the way he looked at me the day I told him the truth. I trusted you, Dream David said. And you destroyed me. I woke up gasping. It's been 3 months since everything exploded. I'm living in a studio apartment now. Couldn't stay with Jessica forever. Got a new job, lower pay, different industry. None of my old co-workers would give me a reference. I see David sometimes. Small town, inevitable. He looks through me like I'm transparent. Like I'm already a ghost. Patricia was right about the isolation. Friends picked sides. They picked David. Even the ones who said they wouldn't, who said they wanted to stay neutral, eventually drifted away. Nobody wants to be friends with a cheater. Church was impossible. Too many people knew. Too many judging eyes. I stopped going. My family knows. My mother cried. My father couldn't look at me. My sister said, I can't believe you threw away a good man like David. What were you thinking? I wasn't thinking. That's the problem. I was feeling. And I let feelings drive me off a cliff. The worst part isn't the loneliness. It's not the shame or the public judgment or even the knowledge that I destroyed someone who loved me. The worst part is that I can't hate Patricia for what she did. She was right to expose me. David deserved to know. He deserved better than living a lie. I just wish the truth hadn't burned quite so completely. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into David's best friend, Mike, at the grocery store. We'd been close once. Double dates, game nights, all of it. He saw me and his face went carefully blank. Sarah. Mike. Hi. Silence stretched between us like broken glass. How's David? I asked, Because I couldn't help myself. Because I was still pathetic enough to want information about the man whose life I'd ruined. You don't get to ask about him anymore. Mike's voice was flat. You don't get to care. I know. I'm sorry. He's in therapy. Mike cut me off. Did you know that? He has panic attacks now. Wakes up at 3 in the morning convinced everyone in his life is lying to him. Takes him hours to calm down. Each word landed like a punch. He started dating someone, Mike continued, and his voice was cruel now, deliberately cruel. Nice woman. Kind. Honest. But he can't trust her. Can't believe her when she says she loves him. Can't accept that she's where she says she'll be. He checks her phone constantly. Asks for proof of everything. She's trying to be patient, but I can see it wearing on her. Mike. You didn't just break his heart, Sarah. You broke something fundamental in him. The part that could trust. The part that could love without fear. And I don't know if he'll ever get that back. He walked away. Left me standing there in the frozen food aisle, shaking. That night, I added David's damage to the list I was keeping in therapy. My therapist had suggested I write down all the consequences of my choices, to really see the full scope. The list was long. David's ability to trust. Destroyed. My marriage. Destroyed. My job. Lost. My reputation. Destroyed. My friendships. Mostly gone. My relationship with my family. Damaged, maybe permanently. My self-respect. Gone. What do you feel when you read this list? My therapist asked during our next session. Guilt. Shame. Horror at what I've done. Anything else? I thought about it. Anger. At? Myself. Patricia. Marcus. David, sometimes, which I know was wrong. Why David? Because he was so perfect. So trusting. And part of me resents that he made it so easy. That he never suspected, never questioned, never. I stopped. God, I'm a horrible person. I'm blaming him for trusting me. You're looking for ways to make this less your fault, she said gently. That's normal. That doesn't make it true or justified, but it's a normal defense mechanism when we've done something we can't reconcile with our self-image. What if I can't reconcile it? What if this is just who I am? Then you decide if that's who you want to be. And if it's not, you do the work to change. The work was brutal. Digging into why I'd felt the need for external validation. Why I'd sabotaged something good. Why I'd chosen short-term excitement over long-term stability. Turns out I had attachment issues. Turns out I'd internalized messages from my father about never being quite good enough. Turns out I'd developed a pattern of self-sabotage whenever things got too comfortable, too secure. Understanding why I'd done it didn't make it hurt less. Didn't undo the damage. Just gave me a framework to understand my own destruction. 7 months after the divorce, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. This is Patricia. I need to speak with you. It's about David. Please don't ignore this. My first instinct was to delete it. I'd done what she asked. Stayed away. Let David heal. What more could she possibly want? But the "it's about David" got me. I couldn't ignore that. We met at the same coffee shop. She looked older than last time. Tired. Thank you for coming, she said. What's wrong with David? He's getting married. The world tilted. What? To Rebecca. The woman he's been seeing. He proposed last week. Patricia's hands were wrapped around her coffee cup like she needed the warmth. The wedding's in 3 months. That's good. That's what he deserves. To move on. He's not ready. Patricia's voice cracked. He's marrying her because he thinks if he commits hard enough, fast enough, he'll learn to trust again. But I see him with her. I see the way he watches her phone. The way he tenses when she's late. The way he asks where she's been, who she was with, what she was doing. Why are you telling me this? Because you need to see the permanent damage you caused. You need to understand that this isn't something that heals with time. She leaned forward. David used to be open, trusting, believe the best in people. Now he's suspicious, anxious, constantly waiting for betrayal. And he's about to trap a good woman in a marriage with a man who can't trust her. What do you want me to do about it? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. You can't fix this. Her eyes were hard. I just wanted you to know. To carry it. To understand that your choices didn't end when the divorce papers were signed. They would last forever. She left. Again. Always leaving me with truths I didn't want to carry. But she was right. I needed to carry them. I started volunteering at a women's shelter. Not because I thought it would redeem me. Not because I thought it would make up for what I'd done. But because I needed to do something good. Something that wasn't about me or my feelings or my needs. The women there had real problems. Abuse. Violence. Poverty. They made my self-inflicted disaster look small and stupid and selfish. One of them, Carmen, asked me one day why I was there. Penance, I said without thinking. For what? I told her. Abbreviated version. Cheated on my husband, destroyed my marriage, hurt everyone who cared about me. She was quiet for a long time. You think volunteering here makes that better? No. Nothing makes it better. Then why do it? Because I can't fix the past. But maybe I can be less terrible going forward. Carmen nodded slowly. My ex-husband cheated on me. 6 years into our marriage. I stayed for 2 more years, trying to forgive him, trying to forget. But I couldn't. Every time he touched me, I thought about her. Every time he said he loved me, I heard lies. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry to me. Be sorry to your ex-husband. Be better for the next person, if there is one. She stood up. But don't volunteer at a domestic violence shelter thinking it'll wash away infidelity. That's still about you. That's still selfish. She was right. Even my attempts at penance were self-serving. I quit the shelter. Started just existing. Work. Therapy. Home. No attempts at redemption. No grand gestures. Just trying to be less awful one day at a time. A year after the divorce, I saw David at the restaurant. He was with Rebecca. I recognized her from social media stalking I wasn't proud of. She was beautiful. Laughing at something he said. He was smiling, but I could see the tension in his shoulders.